The zipper on her jacket snagged as she slipped it on. She laughed it off, tugging gently like nothing about the night ahead could go wrong. But I remember how the air outside bit my knuckles when I stepped out for a smoke 10 minutes later. I wasn't even mad yet, just cold. It was a Friday, mid-January. One of those nights when the wind finds its way under your collar and makes your eyes sting. I'd just finished washing the dinner dishes while she got ready in the bedroom. Said she was going out with her girls, Jen, Mel, and someone from her office. Just drinks and gossip, she said, tucking a curling iron back in the drawer. That line sat in my head longer than it should have. She left at 8:15, which wasn't odd. What was odd was the way she kissed my cheek on the way out, like she was closing a chapter, not turning a page. Soft, a little too deliberate. Then she grabbed her purse, smoothed the front of her coat, and called out, "Don't wait up!" like she didn't want the pressure of me still being awake when she got back. I didn't say anything, just nodded. Then I wiped my hands on the dish towel, checked the baby monitor, quiet, and stood by the kitchen window watching the taillights of her car disappear down the block. I didn't plan to follow her, not then. I sat on the couch and scrolled Reddit, cracked a beer, and tried to get into the game. Some playoff match. Couldn't even tell you who was playing. All I remember is watching the clock. 9:30, 10, 10:30. The group text she usually has with Jen and Mel was silent. We share a family plan, nothing shady. I wasn't trying to spy, just noticing. 10:40. I tapped Jen's name. Having fun? Sent. Waited. Read. No reply. Maybe she had her phone in her purse. At 11:22, my wife posted to her Instagram story a boomerang of clinking glasses with a song tagged, "Downtown Baby." But it wasn't at the pub she told me about. It was somewhere with velvet chairs and mirrored walls. I knew that bar, the Blue Pine. It's not where you go with friends. It's where you go when you don't want to be seen in your usual places, or when you do want to be seen by someone new. I was already pulling on my hoodie before the thought fully formed. I didn't know what I was going to do. Just drive by, see her car, confirm something. The sitter's number was on the fridge. I called her, mumbled something about an emergency at work. Told her I'd be back by 2. She said okay. I took my truck, slid in, started it, didn't even turn on the radio. The roads were slick, but my hands didn't shake from the cold. They shook from something else. That vibration in your sternum when you know you're about to see something that'll change things. The Blue Pine was on 4th, tucked between a vape lounge and a high-end sushi place with ridiculous parking. I found a spot 2 blocks over and walked, hands in, pockets, eyes down. My boots thudded against the sidewalk, heavy. Every sound felt louder in that kind of silence. When I got there, I didn't go in. Not at first. I stood across the street, behind a rusted pay-to-park meter, pretending to scroll my phone, watching. It took about 6 minutes. She came out laughing, his arm around her back like it had always been there. Not Jen, not Mel, not anyone from her office. A man. He had one of those tailored wool coats, scarf tucked just so. He wasn't touching her like it was new. He was touching her like it was routine. She leaned into him like it was comfort, like it was safe. They didn't look around, didn't check over their shoulders. They walked down toward the hotel at the corner like the city had made room for just the 2 of them. I didn't breathe. I didn't think. I just followed. There's something about hotel lobbies at night. They always smell like artificial calm, bleached towels, citrus cleaner, old coffee. The kind of smell that covers up stories. I watched them step into the elevator, her hand on his chest, his lips brushing her ear. I stayed back. just far enough not to be seen. The desk clerk asked if I needed help. I said I was meeting someone. He looked bored. I waited 10 minutes, then I walked out. Didn't need to see the room. I'd seen enough. I drove home with the windows down. The air hurt, but I wanted it that way. She got home at 2:07, slipped off her boots in the mudroom. I was already in bed facing the wall. "Everything okay?" she asked, soft. I nodded. She slid under the covers like nothing had happened, smelled faintly of gin and sandalwood. I closed my eyes. Didn't sleep. Not until the sun came up. The next morning, I made pancakes. Not because I wanted to play happy husband, but because I didn't know what else to do. It was Saturday, and our son, Eli, was up at 6:30 sharp, tugging at my shirt like nothing had shifted, like the world hadn't tilted under my feet 8 hours earlier. He wanted chocolate chips in his pancakes, and I gave him extra. He clapped and bounced in his seat, and I smiled through it like my stomach wasn't clenched. My wife, Maya, came into the kitchen around 8, hair tied up, no makeup, one of my old sweatshirts. You'd never guess where she'd been. She kissed the top of Eli's head and poured herself a coffee. "You're up early," she said to me. I didn't answer right away, just flipped the pancake. "Didn't sleep much." She leaned against the counter. "Everything okay?" Again, I paused too long, then, "Yeah, just a lot on my mind." She nodded like that was enough, like she didn't see the questions behind my eyes. I watched her that day, not in an obvious way, just paid attention. The way she lingered on her phone when I walked into the room. The way she turned the screen slightly away. How she smiled when she thought no one was looking. This tight, guilty kind of smile that didn't match her usual. She cleaned the living room even though it was already clean. Asked me if I wanted to go for a walk. Suggested we grab takeout for dinner. Her way of resetting the mood. But I couldn't. I didn't have the words yet. Not for what I'd seen. Saturday night, I waited until she was in the shower, then slipped her phone off the nightstand. I didn't go through everything. Just one app, her notes. She's always used it like a diary. Quick thoughts, grocery lists, things she doesn't say out loud. There were old entries, Eli's first steps, anniversary trip ideas, songs for our playlist. Then, one note dated just 2 weeks ago, titled simply, "What if?" I opened it. Inside, what if I'm just tired of pretending? What if being a mom doesn't fill every corner the way I thought it would? What if he never sees me the way he used to? What if the spark with Alex is real? What if I don't come back one of these nights? I didn't realize I was holding my breath until I put the phone down. Alex. Now he had a name. Sunday, I took Eli to my parents' place across town. Told Maya I needed to drop off some tools for Dad. He's been fixing up an old lawnmower for months. She didn't question it. While Eli played in the backyard, I sat with my dad in the garage. Didn't tell him everything. Just enough. "She's seeing someone else, Bella," I said. My dad's hands didn't stop working. Just wiped grease off the wrench and looked at me. "You sure?" I nodded. He leaned back on the stool and let out a long breath through his nose. Then he said something I didn't expect. "You're allowed to fall apart, you know. Doesn't make you weak." I swallowed hard. "I haven't told her I know." You waiting for the right words or the right moment? I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure which one I needed more. That night back home, Maya curled into me in bed. She was warm, familiar. She traced a line on my chest with her finger, the way she used to back when we were dating. "We've been good lately," she whispered. I didn't reply. Couldn't. She kissed my shoulder. "I know things were rough after the layoff and after the miscarriage, but I feel like we're finding each other again." I stared at the ceiling. Felt like my lungs stopped working for a second. Because in that moment, I realized something painful. She wasn't lying to hurt me. She was lying to protect something else, herself. Maybe the version of us she wanted to believe in, or the version she was quietly planning to leave. I didn't follow her again that week, but I did start watching the gaps. Tuesday night, she worked late, said she was staying to help file quarterly paperwork. Her company doesn't do quarterly filings. She works in HR. Wednesday, she took an extra long walk after dinner came, back with a coffee from a place 2 neighborhoods over. Thursday, she suddenly needed to help Jen plan a bachelorette weekend. I checked Jen's Instagram. She was in Colorado skiing with her fiancé. Everything became static after that. Background noise, Eli's cartoons, the dishwasher, the hum of the fridge, her phone buzzing at odd hours. None of it felt real anymore. Friday, I made a decision. I called in a favor. My friend Sam, he works security for a private company. Real sharp guy, ex-military. One of those friends who doesn't ask questions until you're ready. I told him I needed a favor, just one. I think she's cheating, I said. Want me to run plates or follow someone? No, I said. I just need a photo. One photo. If she's with him again tonight. Where? I told him the Blue Pine. Told him she'd probably be there between 8 and 11. Not stalking, I added, just confirmation. Sam didn't judge. I'll be discreet. That night she wore the same coat as last time, the one with the gold buttons. Her perfume filled the hallway for a full 2 minutes after she left. Eli was asleep early. I didn't even turn on the lights in the living room, just sat there, waiting. At 10:46, Sam texted me. Got it. You sure you want to see? I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Send it. A minute later, it came through. Grainy, dim lighting, but clear enough. Her face, his hand on her hip, her laugh visible even in pixels, and behind them, a mirror, catching the reflection of someone else, someone I knew. And that's when the story broke wide open. I didn't open the photo again that night. Didn't need to. It was burned into my brain. Maya's body turned toward him, his hand familiar on her waist. But it was the background that kept replaying in my head. The mirror behind them, the reflection of someone I knew. Not a stranger, not a random bystander. It was her sister, Lana. Red coat, same bob cut, same silver hoops she always wore, like armor. And she was smiling. Lana wasn't the warm type. She and Maya had always had a complicated dynamic, close but layered with competition. Lana had a sharp tongue and a sharper eye for people's weaknesses. She'd called me the safe choice more than once, back when Maya and I first got engaged. We weren't close, but I'd never thought she'd be the kind to enable something like this. Now I knew she'd been there, watching it happen, maybe even helping it happen. And that changed everything. Saturday morning, Maya left early. Said she was going to meet Lana for brunch. I sat at the kitchen table with Eli, pouring syrup over his waffles, wondering if she even felt a flicker of guilt anymore, or if she'd already rewritten the story in her head. I watched her car pull out from the driveway, then grabbed my coat and keys. Called Sam as I backed out. You still got that timestamp on the photo? I asked. 10:48 p.m. he said. Friday night, why? I told him I needed one more favor. Find out if they're meeting again tonight, and if so, where? Sam didn't ask anything else, just said, I'll call you back. I didn't tell anyone, not even my best friend Derek, who's been my sounding board since high school. Not yet. This didn't feel like something I could talk about until I knew how I wanted it to end. But I did text Lana. Kept it short. Saw you at the Blue Pine last night. She left me on red for 2 hours. Then finally replied, Not here to fight. Let's talk. She picked the place. Small tea shop downtown, a few blocks from her apartment. I got there first. Sat near the back. Watched people come in. Watched the barista steam milk for a lavender chai. Lana walked in wearing sunglasses and that same red coat. Didn't take them off until she sat down across from me. Then she sighed and folded her hands. "She doesn't know you know," she said. I didn't answer, just stared. Lana rubbed her temples. "I told her this would blow up. I told her she was playing with fire." "How long, I asked. She blinked. "The affair. How long?" She looked away. 6 months, maybe more." I nodded once. The room didn't spin, didn't collapse, just felt smaller. Why help her? She looked at me then, eyes sharper than I remembered. "She's my sister," she said. "That doesn't mean I approve, but I'm not going to be the one to throw her under the bus." I clenched my jaw. Lana leaned forward. "But if you're going to do something, you need to do it right." I frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "She's not just sneaking around for sex, she said. "She's building a narrative. She's been painting you as distant, cold, checked out." "That's not true. Doesn't matter. She's getting her ducks in a row. She's waiting for the moment she gets to walk away as the victim." Silence. "You think this is about you catching her?" Lana said. "No. She wants to be caught, but on her terms." I swallowed hard. "What would you do?" I asked. Lana paused, then said, "Get ahead of her." That night, Sam called. "They're not going to the Blue Pine. New spot, rooftop place, the Gray Finch. Table for 2, under her name. 8:45. I thanked him, then I got to work. I called Derek, told him everything. He didn't say "I told you so," didn't ask me why I hadn't said anything sooner, just listened, then said, "You ready to end it?" "I think I am." He paused. "Want backup?" "Maybe," I said, "but not yet. I need to see it play out." Then I hung up and started planning. I booked a table at the same rooftop, 4 tables away, corner seat, dim lighting. I wore a different jacket, hat pulled low, nothing dramatic, just enough to blend. Got there early, sat with a drink and watched the elevator. At 8:48, she walked in. Not in her usual coat, a new one. Navy, cinched at the waist. Her hair done, eyes lined with that dark pencil she only uses on dates. Alex followed behind her. They were smiling. Waiter greeted them like they were regulars. I snapped a photo, then another. I waited. They ordered drinks, toasted. Then something happened I didn't expect. They took a selfie. Maya tilted the phone just so, then lowered it, grinning. I watched as she sent it somewhere. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed. A text from her. "Crazy coincidence. You'd love this rooftop spot. Might bring you here sometime." She was testing me, mocking me, seeing how far she could push before I snapped. I stared at the message, then deleted it. I didn't confront them there, didn't walk over, didn't flip a table. I waited until they left, watched them walk toward the parking garage together, watched her tuck herself into his coat when the wind picked up. Then I drove home. Let myself in quietly, went to our room, her drawer, opened it. She kept a box there. Notepad, letters, little keepsakes. I found what I needed, a handwritten list, titled "Things I Can't Say Out Loud." One line read, "Sometimes I imagine what it'd feel like if he saw me, truly saw me, and hated what he saw." I sat down on the floor, held the paper, and for the first time in this whole mess, I didn't feel angry. I felt ready to end this her way, but on my terms. Monday morning came with fog so thick you could barely see across the yard. I stood by the window with my coffee, watching Eli's breath fog up the glass as he doodled stick figures with his finger. One of them had a triangle skirt. He said it was Mommy. She was still asleep upstairs, wrapped in the duvet, one leg sticking out like she didn't have a care in the world. I hadn't told her I knew, not directly, but something about the silence between us was shifting. There was a current under it now, and I was done letting her control it. At noon, I called Derek again. "Still got that buddy who does AV setups for corporate events?" I asked. "Yeah, Tyler. Why?" "I need a screen. Something clean. Portable. And I need a space." Derek didn't ask questions, just said, "I'll call you back." 15 minutes later, I had a plan. I booked the back room at a local community co-op we used for our neighborhood meetings. Big enough to fit a crowd, small enough to keep it controlled. And I invited 6 people. Jen, Mel, her cousin April, her sister Lana, my friend Derek, and Maya. I worded the invite carefully. "Hey, thinking of doing a surprise appreciation night for Maya. Small group, just close friends. Can you come? No gifts, just your presence." Lana responded first. "You're framing it this way?" I replied, "Yes." She didn't say more, just, "I'll be there." Mel texted back with heart emojis. Jen said she'd be late, but she'd come. April sent a thumbs up. Derek offered to bring a bottle of wine. "Maya?" She hesitated, then replied, "You're sweet, but what's this about?" I played it cool. "You'll see. I just want to say thank you." She said she'd come. Tuesday night, I picked up the projector from Tyler and set everything up with Derek. The room had folding chairs, dimmable lights, and a blank wall for the screen. I tested the video, grainy but clear, timed the audio, double-checked the angles, made sure Maya's texts from that night were queued up. Then I waited. They arrived one by one. Nervous, curious, Lana walked in last and avoided eye contact. Maya entered right before 7, wearing her polite smile, the one she uses at baby showers and office potlucks. "What's all this?" she asked. "You'll see." She looked around, realized she didn't know the occasion or the mood, and that's when I dimmed the lights. The video started with a slow fade in, just a still image at first, her and Alex at the Blue Pine, taken from across the street. Then the clip of them walking toward the hotel. Then a slow dissolve into the selfie they took at the Gray Finch rooftop. Gasps rippled. Someone muttered, "No way." Maya didn't say a word. Then the text overlay appeared on the screen. "Sometimes I imagine what it'd feel like if he saw me, truly saw me, and hated what he saw." Her handwriting, captured from the note I'd found in her drawer. More murmurs. A chair squeaked. Someone, maybe Jen, whispered her name. Then the screen went dark. I turned on the lights, and I looked directly at her. Maya didn't cry, didn't shout, didn't deny it. She just said quietly, "You wanted to shame me." I shook my head. "No," I said. "I wanted you to see yourself, the version of you that's been showing up when you thought no one was watching." Silence. She scanned the room. Friends, family, people who had stood up for her through breakups and birthdays and bridal showers. And then Lana spoke. "I told you this would happen." Maya turned sharply. "You knew he'd do this?" Lana shrugged. "I knew he could, and that you were underestimating him." Later, outside in the parking lot, Maya cornered me near my truck. "You wanted revenge." "No," I said. "I wanted closure, and I wanted witnesses." "To what?" "To the moment you stopped pretending." She crossed her arms. "You think you're innocent in all this?" I nodded slowly. "No, I know I wasn't perfect. I shut down after the layoff. After we lost the baby, I pulled back." She softened for a moment. "So you did notice?" "Of course I did. I just didn't know how far we'd already drifted." She looked down. "I didn't expect to fall for someone else. I didn't expect to be the last to know." She didn't come home with me that night. She drove off in silence, and I let her. At home, I put Eli to bed. tucked him in, read him 2 books instead of 1. He asked where Mommy was. I told him she needed some time. He nodded, like kids do when they accept answers they don't understand. Then he asked, "Are we okay?" I smiled and kissed his forehead. "We will be." The next morning, Maya texted, "We need to talk, not fight, just talk." I agreed. We met at the park where we used to take Eli when he was a toddler. Sat on opposite ends of a bench, watching a kid chase pigeons. She spoke first. "I never stopped loving you," she said, "but I stopped seeing us. And when I did, I found comfort somewhere I shouldn't have." "I believe you," I said. "About the love? But love isn't the same as loyalty." She wiped her cheek. "I wanted a different version of me. One who wasn't just tired and worn out and invisible. I think I thought, maybe he saw that version." "Did he?" She shook her head. "Not really, just the parts I let him." We sat in silence. Then I asked, "So what now?" She took a breath. "I'll move out, at least for now. We'll figure out Eli's schedule. I'll tell him it's not his fault. I'll keep it clean. No court, no drama." I nodded. It was the first time we'd agreed on something in months. That night, I deleted the photos, not because I forgave her, but because I didn't want to keep carrying them like souvenirs. Pain doesn't make a good keepsake. It just weighs more than you think. The apartment above the florist on Ashland Street was small, barely more than a studio with a kitchenette and a half-size fridge. Maya moved in 2 weeks after our conversation in the park. I helped her carry in the last few boxes, not because I wanted to make it easier, but because I knew that if we didn't start this new phase with some kind of grace, it'd poison the whole thing. For Eli, for both of us. She unpacked slowly, mostly in silence, except for a quiet thanks when I adjusted the curtain rod in the window. Before I left, she touched my wrist and asked, "Will you be okay?" I didn't lie. "I don't know yet." And that was the truth. The first few weeks were a mess of logistics. Splitting schedules, co-parenting apps, learning which socks went in, which bag when Eli shuffled between homes. I took Mondays through Thursdays. She took weekends. We both agreed. No introducing new partners to Eli anytime soon. Not that I had any lined up. I was still trying to remember what I used to enjoy when I was just me. Before all this, before being someone's husband, someone's dad, someone's disappointment, I started going for walks in the evenings, left my phone at home. Just me, the cold air, and the rhythm of my own thoughts. One night, I ran into Jen outside the pharmacy. She hugged me hard, too hard, and said, "You didn't deserve any of that." I half smiled. People don't always get what they deserve, good or bad. "She's embarrassed," Jen said. "She won't say it, but she knows she blew it." "Doesn't matter anymore." Jen tilted her head. "It matters to her." That stuck with me, even as I told myself I was moving on. Then came the night Eli called crying from Maya's. It was a Saturday. I was home doing laundry when my phone buzzed. "Daddy," he sniffled, "where's my blue blanket?" I blinked. "Which one?" "The one with the rockets," he said. "It smells like our couch." My throat tightened. I had washed it that morning. It was still in the dryer. "I'll bring it," I said. "Be there in 10 minutes. Maya answered the door in a sweatshirt and messy bun. She looked tired. "I'm sorry," she said. "He wouldn't calm down." "It's okay," I said, handing her the blanket. But Eli pushed past her and grabbed my leg. "I want to go home," he said. "You're home." Maya froze. I bent down. "Buddy, this is Mommy's home too." He shook his head. "But it doesn't smell like pancakes." Maya's face fell. She knelt beside him. "It's okay," she whispered. "You can go with Daddy. I'll see you tomorrow." I carried him to the car, his fingers curled around the edge of my coat. Back at my place, He fell asleep faster than I expected. I stayed by his bed longer than I needed to, watching him breathe. His chest rose and fell like a metronome, and I realized something I hadn't admitted out loud yet. I wasn't angry anymore. Not the same way. It still hurt. It probably always would. But the rage had melted into something quieter, more reflective, like an ache after an old injury, dull but survivable. A month later, Maya sent me an email. Not a text, not a phone call. A full email with a subject line that read, "Truth, closure, and whatever comes next." I opened it on a rainy Thursday afternoon, sitting in my truck outside the grocery store. It started like this. "I've been rewriting this in my head for weeks. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even sure I deserve your respect anymore. But I do owe you the full truth." She went on to tell me what I mostly already knew, that she started talking to Alex through work connections, that it felt like an escape hatch from a life she didn't know how to repair, that it wasn't love, not real love, but it felt like something exciting and new when everything else had turned to routine and distance. Then she wrote this: "You saw me, more than anyone ever has, and I hated that because I couldn't see myself the way you did. And finally, I'm not writing to open a door. I know we're not going back. I just wanted you to know that if Eli grows up with your heart, your loyalty, your steady kind of love, he's going to be okay, and maybe I will be too." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I clicked archive. Not because it didn't matter, but because I'd already lived it. These days, things are simple. I get Eli Monday through Thursday. We go to the park, play Legos, burn pancakes on Sundays when the schedule flips. Maya and I text like coworkers, cordial, organized, professional. Once in a while, we laugh about something Eli said, but there's no spark, no lingering pause, no wishful silence, just the space between us, clean and understood. And once in a while, when Eli brings out a drawing with all three of us on it, smiling and standing in a row, I let myself remember the good parts, not to rewrite the story, but to remind myself that some things were real, even if they didn't last. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life confessions and emotional journeys like this one.